If you're just being lazy, just say I'm being lazy. But if your energy, you haven't navigated your trauma, then what you're goggling, what you're seeing is your trauma, not their energy. Jordan Peterson says, like, we shouldn't do it to where the fire burns everything away, but like little bits and pieces, we should push ourselves to head towards that thing.
Right.
Feel it, taste it, smell it. Going and continuing to hang out with a friend that makes me just feel drained and I feel it and I go back. Like, that hard thing, don't do. All of that hard shit, yeah, we should master self for sure. But like hard shit just to do hard shit because my body's my slave, I'm not on board with.
Welcome to the Willpower Podcast. Do you guys do cold plunges at your facility?
Yes, we are bringing cold plunge into the facility. This last year one of my personal goals was stacking up some days in a personal cold plunge I had at the house. Uh-huh. So yeah, I enjoy the cold plunge space a lot. Yeah.
So I have a freezer that I converted. It's been out of order for the past couple of months. I just have not gotten back into fixing it. But I did do one today. Mm-hmm. So I'm doing the 3M half marathon tomorrow. Yeah. And so I was at their packet pickup, and they have all their stuff, and they just had a cold plunge exhibit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I was like, can we get in? He's like, yeah, dude. So that's cool.
What got you started in cold water?
I think Wim Hof was my first intro.
Yeah.
Just
his story's hard to hear him tell why he gets started in cold water. That's a hard personal story. And again, he kind of chooses the pain. So let's talk that was why he got in the cold water, was like, I'm going to do this by choice. I know it's hard.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the thing that's going to pull me out of a tough space. So I enjoy that Wim Hof was kind of the foundation. That's dope.
Yeah. How about you? What brought you into it?
I was going through a divorce and I was hurting, and I had started seeing similar things people doing. Wim Hof was definitely in the beginning of it. There's another lady that lives in the north. I can't remember her name. I watched her do it daily. It's kind of in her personal process. She goes out into her natural lake, and there's ice on top, so she's in natural cold water, which is cool. But as I saw it, I saw them using cold as a tool, and I had, in the coaching space, I had enjoyed seeing, okay, I'm hurting, here's a tool that can help. And so I just kind of surrendered to it. Got one for the house, so I made it easy for myself, pulled all of the excuses away, it was in the garage. And I set it to an early time in the morning before the world was moving. I did 4 a.m., so it was 4 a.m. and 40 degrees. So I wanted to be in some level of 40 degree water at 4 a.m. And I did it for 250 days straight. That was I set a number, and that was it. And so I spent time there to heal through a divorce. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's an early time to start your day. Do you tend to be an early person?
Now I'm still at by 5 my dog's moving, so yes, I'm naturally kind of in that space. I have now allowed myself to move to being able to be still in the mornings. So I think in that cold plunge time was a time of very active being. I was chasing some healing. And now I do a lot more of my breath work and still work in the morning. And so I'm still up early, but it's changed in what I'm doing in the early. Yeah.
Gotcha. Different. Yeah. Definitely getting up and going in the cold immediately is a very active awakening kind of thing.
Yes.
That's cool, man. So, tell me about your coaching and what your journey has been to get to where you are.
Yep. I was an active high school to college athlete. So,
what sport?
Football originally. I grew up in Dallas, so Friday Night Lights was the world. I hit helmets for a long time. That was my world. I got into track later in my high school and got into college in track, and then ended up in cheerleading and spent a good amount of time in cheerleading. In that, I was able to see really cool athletes while I was also getting my degree. I was an exercise phys, so I was watching athletes do cool shit. And I enjoyed that. I started working as a personal trainer, so I think it started there. And then I got obsessed in all forms, obsessed. So deep movement patterns and like strength and conditioning. And I got really into the initial education of things. And then I found bodybuilding. And bodybuilding was the kind of the first time I got into a coaching space with other people outside of just personal training. Mm-hmm. I think that's a nice sport that requires like all of it, the lifestyle, the nutrition, the cardio, like it does all of it kind of secondarily. Then I get into now I would say like human capacity. And so I've just gone from same lifestyle from a bodybuilder to like now I work with C-suite level people who are trying to make more money or get time back or spend more time with family or find more purpose. And so it's the same tools, habits, and processes that I have kind of moved through sports that I used as a kid where I had to do nutrition. I had to do stuff in my personal performance. And so I've just used what I had in life to now coaching space of like, oh, if you can help people do their habits, tools, and processes, like we're capable of some really cool shit. Mm-hmm. Like there are people around this world doing insane things and they're just doing their tools, habits, and processes over and over long periods of time. So I try and help people do that shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Just building like that foundation of like, yeah, it's crazy how much we can build and do over long periods of time.
Yes.
If you just stick to the same thing.
Yes. I think that initial part is kind of the vulnerable piece of getting a clear idea of where we're at. So that's the first part of my coaching is we dive into self. So like getting still and breath work and what are we really struggling with and what triggers are pulling you, or are we chasing something? Well, that's pulling us then. Or are we running away from something and that's pushing us away from it? And so I like try and get to like base level, just where are we at?
Yeah.
And then go, where do we want to go? And there's a delta. Mm-hmm. And how can we get ourselves to do that shit? Jordan Peterson says like, we shouldn't do it to where the fire burns everything away, but like little bits and pieces, we should push ourselves to head towards that thing.
Right. Yeah. But that first part is, I think for a lot of people, that's what is stopping us, is like recognizing where we actually are.
Yes.
And it's something that's like naturally, I know for myself, there have been like, I tend to hide from those things and not want to look at them or pretend I'm somewhere that I'm not and avoid even making progress, because if I try to make progress, then I have to accept where I'm at.
Yes.
It's like that thing of like, I'm not going to study for the test because if I don't study, then I have this out that's like, oh, I didn't study.
Yes.
But if you study for the test, then you have to accept like, oh, I kind of didn't do that well on this test.
Yes.
Even though I studied and tried my hardest.
Yes. Yes.
And then you get stuck in this place where you can't improve because you're not studying, but you also can at least tell yourself like, oh, it's because I didn't study. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's a hard one.
I teach, have you seen the movie Venom?
Yes.
So Venom looks at him kind of like in his face, whether he wants it or not. He kind of looks at him. Uh-huh. And if we could like pull outside of ourselves and look at ourselves and be like, don't bullshit yourself. Like, if you're just being lazy, just say I'm being lazy. Like, don't do this is why, or like it's cause, or I didn't get sleep last night, or like, no bullshit. Just like be honest with yourself first. And if we can't go there, then like whatever we talk about or try and get you to change in your life, like it's just, how long can you be disciplined? And that's a short time period. But like, if we get honest with ourselves and we are like, you didn't study, like you yeah, that's your fault. You didn't study. And then if we study, I think there's things where it's like studying's one, but like I study the human body so in depth that it's like, it's in my background. It's when I'm listening to things. It's the conversations I'm having. It's all of a sudden, like if I'm really passionate about something, sooner or later you surround yourself with it where like you don't have to study. It's the only thing that you're taking in. Mm-hmm. Like I don't have shitty relationships anymore. I don't have crappy relationships. People don't really small talk with me anymore. Like it's not even in my world anymore because I love it so much. Mm-hmm. But if I went and did like finance, I would have to study. Like I would have to force myself to learn information. Yes. Mm-hmm. And then everything would be like, how good can I get at the thing that I don't really want to do? And so there's no driver. I'm engulfed in it. And I think if we like get where you at, that's the first thing is like, what would you like to get engulfed in? There's like the first like Where's your foundation? And I think some people get stuck in that, the purpose or drive or those types of things. Calling, I call it the calling. What's the thing pulling you? I think that changes too. I just got done with a 100-mile ultra marathon. 2 years ago, I was on the bodybuilding stage. Like the thing just pulled me somewhere different, and I did the same intensity or same passion or same level. I just chased the calling.
Yeah, that is so cool to see. I have a friend who he's very serious about MMA. Like I think he's about to go pro. He just won like an amateur belt. And I just caught up with him over the holidays for the first time in a couple of years. And I was asking him like, oh, are you still hanging out with the people from high school? Like, what's going on? And he was just like, dude, I don't like this is everything. This is like, I train in the morning. I focus on my eating. I like watch videos at night. I study. And it's very much just like, this is what he does. And he's engulfed.
Yes.
And that's so cool to see when someone like, that's just their world is this one thing. So how do you help people find that? Like you talked about the calling. Is it like just getting quiet and then looking or listening for it?
I'll describe the bodybuilding to running moment. My ex-wife and I were training partners. And so we were together for a good extended period of time, to where the way that we also connected was in the gym. And the way that we supported each other or challenged ourselves was in the gym. I had now built this life where it was easy for me to go into the gym. I was connecting myself going to the gym. So bodybuilding was a very easy result. When the divorce happened, I then had to like motivate myself. I was listening to music to like try and get myself into the gym, to like be angry in the gym, to do the same shit that was once very easy for me to do. And then I did a half marathon last Thanksgiving, and I found myself getting quiet while running like I used to get quiet in bodybuilding. Did I choose running? I don't know, maybe. But once I started running, it gave me the same result that bodybuilding once gave me. So that's where, was I listening? Yes. Like I was able to breathe while running like I was able to breathe in bodybuilding. I was able to go longer distances in training and running like I was once able to do in bodybuilding. And so like get still and listen. I think that also takes some action. You can't just sit there and like home yourself into like really where the hell you're going. I think like get still and then go do some shit and check in with yourself while doing the shit. Like, am I enjoying this? And if the answer, I say like a full fuck yes, like from nose to toes, it feels right, do more of it. That then is like, how connected can you get? Because there are times like I'm literally out in public and I'm like closing my eyes and my heart, and like I get it. I'm able to slow down, or I do slow down. I do it in friendships. Like I get done hanging out with someone and I'm like, do I want to do more of that? Yeah. And I do more of it. Like, so yes, getting still, but also some action in that. And then after action, also auditing, checking in with yourself afterwards. If it didn't feel good, maybe learn to look at it like, did you not feel good because of you, or did you not feel good because of them? I think there's also some connection there. Like I felt like I had to show up like a not version of me that I wanted to. That's icky. I don't want to do that. Or they did something like a real red flag. Well, I heard the other day, like most red flags are shown pretty early. We just like literally ignore them.
Yeah.
So yeah, getting still I think is a part of it. But then getting unstill and go doing some action is also a part of it. Maybe even feedback. I talk about setting performance metrics up in our life. So like if you want to make more money in your life, are the people in your life helping you or hurting you there? Like look at performance metrics. I want a more intimate, great relationships. Are those people offering you or not offering you? So I think if you could also set up some performance metrics in your life to see like, is it giving me the result that I'm wanting? That's also maybe a part of that. And then maybe there's just a part of it too that more fulfillment comes the deeper you go in anything. You spend a week in it. Don't let it feel that. I spent 10 years in bodybuilding. So like bodybuilding is deep in me because I spent time in there. There's time and value. So maybe also like don't hope that you do it once and you're like, I'm ready to do this for the rest of my life. We ask high school kids like graduate and go choose what you're supposed to do for the rest of your life. Where is they're equipped to do that shit? I don't get.
Yeah. So give it a real go. Like really go into something.
Feel it, taste it, smell it.
Yeah, I love that like balance between action and then also quiet, checking in with yourself. That's super important. Where do you find how do you discern between, so you talked about doing hard things.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes hard things, like there are times where I just do not want to go for a run.
Yeah.
And then I go for a run and then I'm like, that was great.
Yeah.
That felt great. How do you discern between the like, I don't want to go versus like, oh, this is actually something I shouldn't do?
I was sitting with my mentor one day. We were having coffee, and we're also friends. We connect hard, and I was hurting through my divorce. And I said, I think I want to run 100 miles at once. He's like, where the heck? Where? I was like 245 at that time. Like, I mean, I was still bulked up from bodybuilding. He's like, where's this coming from? And I said, I think that process would require so much of me that I think it could help my healing. So I said it out loud. That goal required things that if I was going to set the goal, I needed to make an agreement with myself that there was going to be some times that I was going to have to do something that I didn't necessarily what I wanted to do because the goal required me to. So like if a point in me where I'm like, I was sitting with my mentor, like it's like the most authentic version of me set a goal. That part I want to listen to. Like that guy, whatever he says, like I want to go with it. So I set that goal. And then like 5 months later, when I didn't want to run, I said, no, you're the guy who does the goal. So like, I don't care that you don't feel good today. I don't care. You set a goal. And so you can be honest and truthful with yourself. Yourself can trust yourself. Like you put it into the universe. You're the guy who does your goal. So then that hard moment, I say that's the cold plunge. Like, get yourself to be able to do the shit you need to do when you need to do it without thought. And there's like I talk about mastering the monster. That monster I have a place for. And man, he's useful as shit, but like he doesn't come out unless I need him. But man, when he's out, like, hell yeah, he's the one who ran 50 miles. He's the one who ran 2 marathons back-to-back days because like the goal required me to do it. Like, fuck yeah, it hurt. But like, that guy I don't negotiate with. Going and continuing to hang out with the friend that makes me just feel drained and I feel it and I go back. Like that hard thing, don't do. Like there's also a part there where the hard should maybe be connected to like harm. Hard in benefit or hard in growth or hard in, if the equation ends in a plus, lean more into the hard. But like, I also think there's a part of me that my body is also my best friend. My life is also my best friend. I shouldn't also force it to do things that it doesn't really want to do also. So getting still again, it's like action and stillness. I should be able to say the goal requires me to do the hard shit. Nutrition, sleep, mobility, journal work, breath work. Being able to run for the first time with like no headphones so I could actually like get quiet in my brain. All of that hard shit, yeah, we should master self for sure. But like hard shit just to do hard shit because my body's my slave, I'm not on board with.
Yeah, so it's making that upfront decision and like doing that from a place of clarity.
Are you in a good place saying that shit?
Then stick to that.
Make the agreement with yourself. And if that's getting out of debt, or if that's getting over an addiction, or if that's needing to read a book, or if that's, I see a keyboard here. Like if you make a music goal, if you make those types of things and there's a timeline, like those things, yes, you made an agreement with yourself. Like, I know you don't want to play your hour today, but like,
you already made the agreement.
You did the agreement. Yeah. Don't allow yourself when you're not in the empowered state to then negotiate with yourself because you're not in the empowered state in that moment. Don't let yourself in the disempowered state really call the shots because they're not calling the shots from like soul space. They're not they're not really on board with you. If we look at like it's easier or it's comfort, I think we really lean on comfort a lot in this society, and that's a hard break for most people is being comfortable. Pain cave is talked about a lot in running. Being able to be okay with pain. And if you're just avoiding it because it's painful, that's weak. And I do mean that. Like if you're just, it hurts. And that's the fire in the forge. You got to sit in the fire sometimes. And sometimes life gives us fire that we can't necessarily control. And a lot of the real beautiful times we get to put fire on our life that we choose That's studying, that's cold plunge, that's that shit too. That's the fire we choose that makes us better or stronger, that shit. Cold water is a funny one now that we'll like full circle on that. You get someone to be like, how bad do you want to change your life? It's like, oh, so bad. I want you so bad. Cold water. And they're like, whoa, easy. Like, what do you mean? Last 10 seconds of my shower, you want all the way cold? Like, can I go halfway cold? A little bit. Yeah, like that's the thing that you wanted it real bad until we get to cold water. Uh-huh. And you'll see people like, that's the limit.
Yep.
Like, ooh, okay. You don't want it that bad. Cold water's the thing that gets you to, okay, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen that with. I used to help guys get over like, because I went through this myself. My fear of approaching women, just like cold approaching, terrifying.
Yeah.
And me and a friend would host these meetup groups where we would like meet up and go in the park and just get our reps in. And yeah, I saw that with people where they were like, we're talking about it. They're like, yeah, I know all these ways that like it's beneficial. I want to get over my fear of rejection. And then it comes to the point where I'm like, how about her? You want to go talk to her? And they're like, and they freeze. And I totally understand it. But that's like that cold water. It's like that as soon as it gets real and it's like, okay, let's do something scary and potentially painful. Yeah, people shut down. That's hard. That's a hard one. So you mentioned your divorce a few times. What did you learn from that, from experience as a whole?
Our marriage was something real powerful. We were two mid-20-year-olds meeting each other, coming in very aware of the trauma and triggers that we had. So we were starting our kind of self-journey on healing and things. And so when we came in, we started a pretty open dialogue on like, okay, this is the kind of conscious partnership that we would like to have moving forward. And man, the next 7 years or so played out in like a real powerful place where she did that journey, I did that journey. I started a business. We were traveling and coaching. It was real cool. We were talking about powerful relationships. And then just in her journey, she chose that she wanted to go in a different direction. And that caused the divorce. And at that time, she was my breathing world. Like, I took pride in being the guy that like woke up early in the morning and did whatever it took to provide for the one that you loved, and worked on emotional maturity and worked on communication. And man, I dug that. But that power for me was directly correlated to another person. I used to call her my why. She was literally my driving force to cause me to continue to grow in this life. And then when that split, I literally felt all winds in my sails completely pulled out. I had lost all drive. And also moving from a much more conscious place than I was when I started the relationship, I was aware like she was your drive. She was everything. I had not put enough drive just for like my purpose, for myself, for my ability to be the reason who got up in the morning and did the practices because like it made me better, or the impact that I wanted to have on the world wasn't directly connected to my marriage. And so it was this almost mirror that the book I'm writing right now is called I Am I.
I was actually going to ask you if you were interested in writing.
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay.
Yes.
I Am I.
And it directly correlated to the forge that we as humans go through in life. And I had gotten really good at finding the ability to find power in this world in external things, which I think is a super powerful. If you're a parent, your kids. If you're a business owner, your business. If you are impacting a community, then it's your community. I think that is a superpower that, man, people can get. They're connected to something outside of them. It's fucking powerful. But then if I move backwards, I had done that since I was a little dude. Worked in performance from sport and school to receive love from my parents. And I just like always had external drivers. I had never been the driver of my own life. So then all of a sudden it's kind of ripped off. We're like, you're in bed alone, or you come home from work alone, or now you're training alone, or you're alone cleaning your home by yourself, alone doing the bills by yourself, alone. All of a sudden alone, like you're the only dude that's going to be able to actually take care of your life. There was this almost like collision point of like, I am I. Who the fuck is I? Like, my I was my wife at that time. So if I was also as valuable as the marriage, if I also had a purpose that wasn't my marriage, what the fuck was that? Like, I got clarity. You and I had talked about like finally getting clarity. Like, I had to go, would you like to decorate your apartment? What sheet colors would you like? Like, what art would you like on the wall? Like, as basic as it got, I had to start asking self, like, who am I? What music do I listen to? What smell of incense would you like in your apartment? Like, I had to start asking, not someone else, hey, what would you like? Hey, I had to start asking that. And I was 33 years old. I'm about to be 35. So, like, at 33, I had never asked myself, like, what incense would you like in your apartment? Now scale that to life. But, like, my marriage was the thing that was causing me to go direction. And finally, I had to go, like, what does Kenny want? Who is Kenny? At that time, I had dreads down to my ass. No more dreads. Like, new image changes. My language changes. Who is this? So what did the divorce do? It finally, like, ripped everything off. And, like, Jordan Peterson talks about, like, the husk being burnt off and then there being, like, 5% left. Burn the husk off and take the 5% and then start building from the 5%. I finally figured out who I was through that divorce. That's the first time I've answered that since the divorce, and I'm good with what came out of my mouth.
That was powerful, man. That's really powerful. It's to me, it feels, and I think this will be relatable to a lot of people. It's like you went through life almost like trying out different things, and whatever the world told you, that's who you would be. When the world was like good, you would double down on that thing. And finally you got to a point where you're like, okay, what am I like giving myself the thumbs up on? What am I actually wanting to be myself? That's really cool. And yeah, I can see that in your ultra marathon, because that's like doing these other sports. It sounds like you always had people, like you have teammates in football. When you're running, you're alone. And especially with no music, like you're alone. You're there with you and your thoughts. And that takes, you got to know why you're doing that. And that's got to come from somewhere.
You mentioned the marathon. Like, there were days that I'd start a run at 8:30 p.m. and get done at 2:30 a.m. and walk in my apartment at 2:30 a.m. having to shower myself, having to take care of the dog, having to wash my own clothes. Like, no one was there. There's a giant phrase going pretty viral right now that's like, a boy becomes a man when he recognizes no one is coming to save him. No matter how bad my feet hurt from the run I chose the night before, I still had to get up and go to work because my bills still had to be paid. Like,
yeah, no one's coming.
No one's coming.
Yeah, that's a good saying. I think there is something, and I've fallen into this trap. I'm trying to work my way out of it. With a lot of people go into we become employed. We work for a company, and that now becomes the new, like, mommy and daddy. It's like, this company needs to take care of me. And we get this, like, entitled view. I've just seen it around where people are like, yeah, like, this company owes me something. I want to break free of that myself. But yeah, recognizing that, like, no one's coming to save me. It's all up to me.
And where does that hurt to why do you think we ask that of the place we work? Because
it is just such a lot, like, most of people who go to college, like, they are cared for throughout until high school. They go to college, maybe they're still being cared for, and then they get their job, and now they're not being cared for.
Yeah.
So they're looking for, like, okay, who's going to take care of me now?
Yes.
And the company is the first one that you go to.
Yes.
And so it's just like filling in that gap, but not taking the responsibility for it.
Yes.
As a whole.
Yes. I know I did. I didn't think adulting was going to feel like this. I didn't think that when I watched my parents as little kids, what their experience was going to feel like this when I became the same age that they were when I was witnessing them. Like, I held my parents to such a hard standard as a little kid that I look back and I'm like, He was 37 years old with 3 kids, solo, doing the thing, doing a full-time job, trying to figure Dad, some grace, my dude. I went through a divorce. I could not imagine having 3 kids. There were days that I couldn't take care of myself, and my dad went through a divorce. Shit, like, could not imagine. And as a kid, I held him to such a freaking high standard that I'm like, Grace, my dude, I get it. Mom, same way. Like, she was going through her own divorce and her own experience. So then I look back now at the mom who takes care of me now, and like, both of those women are the same woman. Like, she couldn't become this woman now unless she had that experience then. And like, she was trying to navigate life, like who the hell she is and what's her eye, and like all of those same things that I'm going through. My parents did also. Like, they're just normal adults. So it almost, when we go to the job and we go like, you were supposed to be able to give me security, and you were supposed to be able to give me purpose because like my job's the thing. And then you're supposed to be able to like allow me to grow and allow me to feel supported and allow me to feel this and da-da-da-da. And then we get to the job and we're like, I don't feel anything. Like, it wasn't supposed to feel like this. With no data, we made all of those decisions with like no data. And I think we give all of our time and energy to the job, and then we come to the comfort to like try and breathe. So we're not doing any of the things that actually fill our cup also. Exercise and breath work and like all of the habits that I would say, like, you're tired, you're doing none of those. Well, yeah, you're doing none of the things that actually fill the cup. You're doing all the things that empty the cup, and you're only screaming at the thing that empties your cup. I'm like, you're also in that equation. Like, we could also do this stuff. Alex Hormozy talks about a little bit of like an icky place that we're in, a real privileged place in life though, because like 4 generations ago, if you were the barge guy who did the barge guy and you did it because your dad did it and they did it and that took care of your life, you were like, that's what I did for a living. Like, you didn't know any different, and you didn't hate your life for it. Like, you worked hard because it took care of the thing. So we're also in a real beautiful place that like you just get to see the person who's living in Machu Picchu doing online business and going like, I wish I had that, but like, that's new.
Definitely new.
That's new. Our job wasn't always looked at that way. My grandpa, his dad, a mechanic, a manager, a coach, whatever, that they took pride in being good at the thing. It was a more simple life. I would say maybe due to like outreach. I mean, we're on the internet right now across the world. Like, you didn't even know that the person across in India existed 100 years ago. Like, you weren't even aware of that. We have more stimulus now. Mm-hmm. So people look at the job and like, why don't I have purpose? Well, we're kind of in a privileged place.
There's more options.
Gosh.
And it's also just that it's easier now. Like, purpose used to be like, okay, can I feed myself and my family? If I get a job that does that, I'm good. That's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
And your wife looked at you. You were providing. Box checked. There was like 5 boxes. You were 20% good. You were killing it. Mm-hmm. You had kids. Kids were good. Next box. Like, your parents, everyone was healthy in your family. Next box. Like, you lived in a city that you enjoyed the professional sports and there was some entertainment and you could barbecue and check with your neighbors. Next box. Like, now we have quite a few more boxes.
Yeah, that is such an interesting thing. How like the purpose has changed almost.
And even before that, it was like being able to provide. Even if we just go to any of the prior to, like 1920s, World War I. Food, just being able to have a home over your house or being able to have enough food. There was also a time where like just getting to baseline, we were under baseline. So like just get a job just to food, like that was baseline. So we've been above baseline for a long time. And now we've elevated the baseline when actually necessities, I've seen there's more of the public science people that we really could get people out of like hunger and poverty with a good global management, and we could get everyone to baseline. Mm-hmm. Water, food, like the baseline of stuff. That's pretty low now. So yeah, we are in a privileged place, have been for a long time. Followers is one of the new most highly trend thing, like social awareness, eyes on me, is now a scale of stature. That's a privileged place for us to be in. Neither here nor there on should or should not. Our grandparents just didn't care how many eyes were on them. And there was no real value connected to that either. You weren't going to make more money if you had more eyes on you. It was almost directly to value. Back then, you made more money because of more value that you could do in the market situation. So yeah, I think just the things that we value and purpose have really caused aimlessness to happen quite a bit. Our jobs and our partners actually hold, I think, unfair amounts of expectation. Husbands don't have really good guy friends, and wives don't have really good girlfriends. And so then the partner's expected to be like, I want you to be the man and my girlfriend. So you get like those things. Relationships aren't as broad, wives used to hang out and men used to hang out. And so same with the job, like your guy friends didn't do work friends, but now like our coworkers are supposed to be our best friends, we also date our coworkers now and da-da-da. So like we're mixing a lot of stuff now that I think the job and our partner has huge expectations. They're also supposed to be our spiritual partner. We want to be spiritually connected to our partner. Well, that used to just be whomever you went to praise, but like that was another role. Financial expectations. So now like both of us have to make money. So that's a new expectation. Like I think our partners and our jobs hold a lot of things now that they shouldn't have to hold.
Yeah, we put a lot of weight on, definitely. I can relate to that. What do you think that looks like in a healthy relationship?
Damn, that's a hard one to answer these days. For sake of conversation, I think that would do a 50-50 on relationships are not 50-50. The relationship in that would be 50-50, meaning I'm just as responsible for my reality as I am responsible for the relationship's reality. So like, if I'm aware that our relationship is requiring some version of me to work on, and I'm just not doing it, I'm not doing the 50% that I need to do to like make sure I'm my highest version in the relationship. And so if the relationship is important to both of us, then what we're agreeing is that, hey, I should always be able to expect your highest version to show up in this. And if it doesn't, I should be able to say something as long as I'm in my highest version also. So then there's the expectation on, hey, don't call shit out as if you're also in a low state, because like that's not the standard we should be running from. But if I look at you and I get to go like, hey, the relationship requires both of us to like not come at each other like that. So like, go do what you need to do and I'll go do what I need to do so we can come back and we can communicate the way that the relationship deserves for us to communicate. And I recognize that I can't do that right now, so I'm not going to with you, and I'm going to then verbalize. So there's like just as much expectation as there is self-responsibility. And I think there's like this dance with that. If we were just to go to like the types of relationships that go on intimately in this day and age are a lot more broad. So I'm not going to say male or female, but like masculine and feminine. Then like someone needs to iron that stuff out. Like we both can't do this in the same partner relationships, or like male on male relationships. I think we struggle in like, how do I show up for you? I just cried in front of you and you did a really great job of holding space, but like I crying in front of some people, that really throws some men off. Should I be responsible for what my crying does for you? No, not necessarily, but like, because then I'm giving a version to you that's not real. So I'm giving a fake version of myself because I'm altering myself to not cause you anything. I've worked towards kind of two places of conscious observer and then like full allowance. Hey, I'm going to show up how best serves like my highest self. And you're not expected to show up in any way required. You get to show up however you want. But then I also then get allowance to go, cool, if that's how you want to show up, then I also don't want to be in this relationship. I'm not expecting you to change. And I also don't have any weight in it where like, I think our partners become like, you have to move this way because it makes my trigger when you do this. Well, damn, aren't you responsible for your trigger as much as I'm responsible for the way I interact with you? Now, I shouldn't hear you say that and then intentionally do it, but like, What in you is getting triggered? Can we navigate that part too? So you're observing. I'm fully observing you. You have no expectation. You're fully allowed. And then if you're fully allowed and we're like both doing this and I'm like, hey, do you dig that? And you're like, I really dig that. Then we get a like fully relationship, because it was like, are you showing up 100%? And I'm going, am I showing up 100%? We both go like, yeah. Then like that's where cool shit happens. Friendships, male bros. Like I've got some soul family here in Austin that like we've interacted probably 30 times together, and it's just been beautiful all 30 times. And so when we see each other, it's like full embrace and hug with each other, because you get to show up exactly your highest self, and I'm showing up my highest self. And that's the relationship goal, I think. But it's your responsibility, it's my responsibility to show up in that highest part. Yes.
Yeah, I think the important part for me there is like taking care of yourself first, making sure that you're checking your boxes. And yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like that kind of live and let live, which is like, I will show up for my half of this, but if you're not showing up, I'm not interested in that. And so there's not an expectation. It's just a like, I want this. If you want it to, great. If not, I'll find someone else.
Yes.
Who has that, who's looking for it.
No foul. Mm-hmm. And then equally in a friendship too, there's that allowance of like, sometimes we slip back into that ego. I'm not here to judge you. I like sit in it. And then when you get pulled out, it's like, I recognize that's cool. Yeah. Like there's no danger in it either. If we're friends, like I've got you, that you can cry, you can show up in ego, you can try and gossip, but don't ask me to come down there with you.
That's interesting. So it's like an acceptance, like I will see you at like lower than your top self, but don't expect me to come down with you.
Mm-hmm. And there's been a few times where they're maybe a little distant, and then finally you catch yourself and you're in like, shit, I've been in the goo for like, 6 weeks, and you like open up and you're like, hey bro, I miss you. Hell yeah, full arms again. Like I missed you too. Like don't ask me to be in the 6 weeks, but no, like once you're ready, hell yeah, let's go grab a workout, or let's go connect, let's go everything. Cause like when we're vibing, you can feel it. But it's the things that like we get stressed in work and we get it in and we let the self thing run and the brain starts talking ugly shit and all that shit happens. Like I'm not going down there with you, but like I love you there too.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Like getting pulled into stuff or getting pulled away from yourself.
Yeah.
How do you notice when that happens?
Yeah.
And what actually like pulls you out of it? And have you gotten better at like noticing quicker?
Doom scrolling is probably one of the like easiest things where people are going to hear this and go like, oh shit. But like when you're good with losing 2 hours in this like one place, you're regulating. You're not there. You're not in flow. You're not present. And so I think presence and being able to be present, there's moments where like when I walk my dog, I don't have my phone out and I'm like looking at the trees and I'm taking big, giant, deep breaths. Like that's not lost in the sauce. That's presence. That's me being in soul. That's me being the place. Getting stuck in it is the place where like, yeah, every dog walk you're scrolling. You're driving and scrolling. You can't just sit like and listen to music with the windows down. Or when was the last time you had a deep conversation? Or for women, when was the last time that you cried or danced? For men, when was the last time that you exercised or had like bro time? When was the last time that you studied? You can't. The habits we were talking about earlier is one of the great ways to like not get stuck in the sauce, because all of the things cause you to be present. Like try and scroll in the cold plunge. Like you're so right here. And if you can be right here when you're studying, if you can be right here when you're connecting with friends or with your partner, like be as intimately connected with your life as you are with the cold in the cold plunge, you're on it. You're there. Loud brain is another one. When you're going to sleep, is it loud? You're lost in the sauce. You're lost in it. Yep. The rat race, the brain, the monkey mind, finding ourselves regulating. If we're drinking a lot, if we're, in a substance a lot, I'm stressed, I dip, those things, we're lost. We're not connected to soul. Grounding is one that I do a lot, like in the morning, getting my feet on dirt. It's a one I really lean on, and neither here nor there on whether you believe on grounding, but what I'm doing is like I'm moving my toes in the grass, and like I'm feeling the grass on my feet, and I'm feeling cold going into my nose. I'm like, breath work is one. Is it loud when you're breathing? Can you stack up 10 deep breaths just like we did when we started this podcast? Like, let's do box breathing. 4 in, hold 4, 4 out, hold 4. Can you do 10 consecutively, counting the whole time? Yeah. That's getting still. I think getting lost, we're regulating. There's a part of us that we're like trying to itch and it can't get itched.
Yeah, I very much agree with a lot of that. There's like, what it feels like to me is my mind is telling me things all the time. And if I am using these things like scrolling, watching YouTube videos, overeating, any of those things, it's like blocking the mind from telling me what it wants to tell me. There was one time where I was in kind of a state of just like hyperstimulation. I really had quiet time. Yeah. And then I had to do laundry that day.
Yeah.
And I was going to put it away, and I was like, let me go get my speaker. I want to play some music. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, no, let me not. let me just put this laundry away. And so I did it in the silence, and my brain is like pinging me. I notice like just these weird thoughts keep coming up, and then they start to slow down, and it just starts to get quieter. And it was literally like my mind just had to process a lot of shit that it had not processed yet, because I hadn't given it a chance to just like run through all the stuff that's been happening. So I'm a big believer in having just like low stimulation time, having time to breathe, meditate, whatever that looks like.
Yeah. Walk
your dog. I'm a huge proponent, and that helps me show up a lot better.
He's my spiritual coach, made friend. He's always in my ear about even laundry, but like then taking it even farther, go sit on like the bench at the park. Don't even walk the dog, because then again, like, did you do something? No. Go sit for an hour and waste an hour to just be still. Don't like put on a YouTube of a podcast because like you want to take it. No. Look at the sun and like the trees. Just be so still that you don't have to do anything. Don't stretch. Don't like don't breathe. Don't meditate. Don't have to do anything. Just like be fully look at the bee, look at the grass. Like, just take it in. I started hallucinating during the 100-mile pretty bad in the middle of the night.
When did it start? Like what time of day?
Yeah, 7 a.m. was when the race started.
Okay.
And I went 22 hours straight before sleeping for the first time. So
okay.
I went from 7 a.m. to 5 a.m. straight.
Okay. So middle of the night, you're hallucinating.
Oh, hard.
Okay.
And we're running in like a gravel path, and there's trees on both sides. So it's literally just like a circle path, trees all the way around. And I'm feeling the trees almost like applaud me for doing something good human. Like you're doing humaning good. Because like that tree can't do anything else than tree. It doesn't want to do anything else than tree. It doesn't think about anything else other than treeing. Like it doesn't do anything but treeing. It can't study. It can't become a better tree than like its tree's little self. And just because we have a conscious brain, we now complicate that completely. And like, what if we didn't have to do anything but just
be?
It's hard. It's loud. It will do like, well, it's not good to waste time. Because then like if I'm wasting time, then I could make money, or I could connect. We'll do so much. Like being is not worthy enough of doing. That's an icky place to be. You're always having to be some version, to do something, to study something, to make something, to be something, to do something better. It's hard. No one's coming.
What is something you are currently struggling with?
I would really love a family. My dad thing is going off hard. I see kids and I exist with kids, and I even think it'd be really dope to have a woman who wanted to bear your child. Like, that's yeah. I'm family. I'm lonely. I am. I've like worked real good with like being alone. Got that one. But then I'm lonely. Yeah. I would enjoy love again. I loved my marriage so much that like I think it would be cool to have a partner again and have a family. That would be really, that's where I feel my life is hurting right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. I think that's one of the biggest privileges of being a man, is that your clock is so much longer. Like, I can't imagine being a woman and like, you know, you miss that window and you can't have your own, you can't bear children
Correct.
anymore.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be terrible.
They talk about one of the superpowers of this world, like the female womb baby thing. Like,
Yeah.
Hail all women for that. Like, it is the source of life. It's like the purest level of energy. I just saw the moment that when a sperm will enter the egg, there's actually a beam of light that happens. Like, literal energy happens when that moment happens. Fuck yeah.
That's crazy. So I was talking with someone yesterday about the reality of pain for women, which is childbirth, and that is kind of just like a looming reality, which is crazy to think about. And I've had that in the past where I've been like, holy shit, I'm glad I don't have to like ever go through that.
Yeah.
But that must be something. And I need to talk to like a woman about this, but what that's like to be like, you know, maybe you're a young woman and you're like, I know I want to have kids, but I know that I'm going to have to go through childbirth.
I think the one that just made me is, in my head then, is like, our pain that we have to choose then as the male is like, our job is then to protect it. Like, you sign up for whatever the shit like, you don't get to choose what that is. Like, she did that. Mm-hmm. So now from this point forward, your entire being is to make sure this little person
mm-hmm.
is given the best chance to show up in this world. Like,
right.
That's our pain. You do it in provision, or you do it in security, or you do it in protection, however you want to do that. Like, I think you get to build how you see as the man show up, but like, that's the agreement. You take it back to like primal days. Like, I'm going to be pregnant in the hut. You're going to make sure the saber-toothed tiger doesn't kill me. Like,
yeah.
Yep, I got the saber-toothed tiger. Like, that's what we're signing up for.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, she does that part and you just build a wall around that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I will go find food. I will go find water. I will make sure that rain doesn't make you wet. Like, yep, I got that. And you like, that's the calling of the man, the thing that requires us to go get a skill or go become a master of something or do the daily practices. Like, me and my mentor here in Austin, we talk about the responsibility that you feel when you have a high-level woman come into your life or a high-level partner come into your life. Is like, see, like, now it's your responsibility to do your practices to make sure you're in a good space. Like, it's the agreement.
Yeah. So speaking more on like the, you know, feminine, masculine, cool. You are very in touch with your emotions. Like, I can tell. Have you always been that way? And what this is coming from, I have just recently begun to go on that journey of like even understanding what, you know, what I'm feeling, what other people are feeling, not just being in a heightened state of anxiety or like unawareness, whatever that word would be. Yeah. What, like, have you always been that way, or was that part of your own journey?
First, thank you for seeing that. It's a cool mirror to feel. I used to feel my emotions as intensely, but I was not disciplined enough to not make you feel them also. So when I felt angry, I needed you to also feel that I felt angry. So I think the superpower is getting to a place that like I can feel my feelings and then you don't feel any of that because it's not yours to carry. If I cry in front of you, you don't feel awkward or wait for me crying because it's my experience. And then if we get cool enough to where like I can feel all of the things that I can feel, need to feel in my life without closing them off as to not make others feel a certain type of way or expectations or da-da-da-da, then I get to feel all of them. And then also if the people in my life can feel that I can feel all of them and you're never in danger, that's dope. I can feel absolute rage and you don't feel that it's dangerous. I can feel absolute destruction and as a partner, you don't feel me weak. So there's no repercussions of the feelings anymore. Then we get to play in all the fun shit. I don't think that we get to feel the polars. So like if you don't allow yourself to feel the shit that makes you cry, then you don't feel the other polar of those things also. So like happiness, if it makes you cry, there's moments that I'm so damn happy that I cry. Well, you don't feel that level of happiness then. If you have never felt sadness because you won't let yourself cry when you're sad, then you've actually never felt the sorrow of sadness that I have felt because I allow myself to feel sadness connected to tears. If you've never felt so angry that you cry, then there's a part of you that is dangerous, because if you feel that level of anger, then who knows what you're going to do. And that's a dangerous man. It's like there's actually a level of depression, sadness, loneliness that I don't know how you're going to react. That makes you dangerous. There's a phrase that I really enjoy. I use it a lot. It's from Jordan Peterson, the first person I heard, but it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. I have gone and mastered all of that shit, and I have all of the swords to call of it. We talked about mastering that monster. There is a fucking dangerous monster in me. But like, you're actually never in danger if the monster comes out, because like, I'm in full control of that part also. And so I think if we don't allow ourselves to feel those feelings, we don't actually trust ourselves. We try and keep this version of our life that doesn't actually feel that level of sadness, or I don't really go that depressed, or like I'm not really going to take a risk on the things that can make me that happy because I can't handle that level. So we're in this like version of our life that we make all of our decisions from, how we communicate to the jobs that we do to what fulfills us to are we tired, is a version. And since the divorce, we'll talk about another thing I took from it, is like I could have my absolute lowest low, don't want to get out of bed, and still my friends could depend on me. I could have my lowest low and I still do my cardio. I do my lowest low and I still hit my nutrition. I do my lowest low and I still go to work and perform at the highest level possible. It's my state is not the decider of my reality. So then like if you're sad, go feel sad. Go feel sad. If you go feel happy though, like allow yourself to feel happy. I have feelings, I am not my feelings. I have internal states, but I can also perform at a level. Remember that goal? If I choose a goal where like my showing up every day in my highest self is my goal, then I can be miserable and do that. I can be stressed and do that. I could be pissed off and do that. I could be on 2 hours of sleep and do that. In my marriage, I was bodybuilding for about 5 years straight. Also growing a business, also having a marriage, also being a boss, also. And do I get to look at you at 4% body fat and I've been doing cardio for 6 weeks and go like, I'm an asshole because I'm lean body fat, and you go, oh yeah, that makes sense. God bless. Like, really? Or is there a possibility that I can feel absolutely drained physically and completely energized as a human and soul to where I show up for you, or I navigate my feelings the same, or I hold myself to a level of communication? Remember Venom? Like, you shut up as an asshole because you're lean body fat. What the fuck? What? I would look at my bro and be like, are you kidding me? You just talk to your wife like that because like you're lean body fat? You think do I get to talk to your daughter that way? It's like we start doing enough of the like, no, look at the mirror shit enough to where it's like guys that are like, I don't cry. It's like, is that a part of you that you're so, where in you is so in it that like, Is it connected to weakness? Is it connected to you're not ready to look at that part? Is it connected to you've made yourself go numb? Is it connected to you believe that your partner will look at you as weak? You believe that fathers don't cry? Like, what are you connecting it to for you to look at yourself and go like, all of the things in my body aren't cool if you cry? Damn, that hurts. That sucks. But if you can like hold yourself while you're crying, I just sat there and kind of closed my eyes because like there are still parts of me when I talk about my divorce that cause me to feel things that cause me to cry. That's like, it's a mirror. Yep, I still got some areas that I can navigate.
I think the distinction between, like, there's a way to express emotion without it being overlaid onto somebody.
Okay.
And I was listening to a podcast about that a few months ago, and the guy was saying, like, if you put your anger onto someone, like, that's emotional abuse. Whereas you can also just express your anger. And his story was, I forget his name. I would mention if I remembered. But he's having like a busy morning. He's trying to make pancakes, and his daughters are like arguing. They're like little girls. They're fighting behind him, and he's like, "Why? Like, this is not the time. It's a stressful morning." And so he just jumps up and down. And he goes, "I'm angry. I'm angry. I'm angry." And then one of his daughters like, "That was some good anger, Dad." And so it's like he just accepted that he was angry, and he just expressed it, but not in a way that was projected onto his children.
Was it his daughters? No. Like, I remember feeling moments as a kid where my dad expressed anger, and it made me feel like such a frozen moment as a kid. It was almost like branded on me to make sure I never did the thing that caused that again. We talk about like walking on eggshells. How many of us have relationships where it's like, don't do that? How many of us are going, I'm going to act a way to make sure that they never do that again? Well, you're just as responsible for that shit. I'm a big dude. If I'm not aware of the tone of my voice or the stature of my body or how I position myself or my body language when I interact with people, I recognize that I'm getting some level of a fearful interaction from every single person that I interact with. Let's add tattoos and shit too, like, but you watch me for an hour coaching your less than 6-year-old in the cheerleading gym while I'm doing cheerleading coaching, and you're like, that little girl feels completely safe. Because like, I can be angry and she never feels it. So she comes to me because she's never felt anger from me. Mm-hmm. I've been angry teaching a class of 10 under 6-year-olds, but it's not theirs to carry. And those little kids just completely open to me.
Yeah, because we're not afraid of angry people. We're afraid of people directing their anger at us.
Oh, you're not in control of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, yeah, that's so interesting. And then that also probably ties into people pleasing and trying to just do whatever it takes to not have people get angry at you, because we learn from people getting angry at us.
Mm-hmm. I think then we also, in the conscious awareness community, you'll get like, I sensed your energy change. Cool. I get it. But if you navigated your trauma where you don't see every energy change as now you're angry at me, so you go like, hey, are we good? Hey, I just sense that your energy changed. Are we good? Your energy probably did change, but like it didn't always go to anger. But if I haven't navigated my anger trauma, then every energy switch that I feel makes me go, they're angry.
Mm.
And so you're getting some blurred vision of everyone's energy switch that does happen in this world. You believe everyone's angry or not happy with you or not pleased with you because you haven't. So everything you experience, the energy change, you perceive it as, well, that's the same energy as that. Or I used to sense when Dad walks in the room or when Mom walks in the room and she feels like that, I better like shaping up. And you know the difference. Like someone walks in a room now and you can just feel them radiating. Or you can kind of feel that like guy to stay away from. That energy's real. But if your energy, you haven't navigated your trauma, then what you're goggling, what you're seeing is your trauma, not their energy. I think that's another one that we have to navigate also.
It's like if there's uncertainty, then we assume it's whatever that thing we learned in the past was.
We believe our perception of the reality is law. Ours is correct.
What does your dream life look like?
My 100-miler took me 50 hours. 2 whole days of running. Do I desire to run for the rest of my life? Hell no. But I desire to physically be able to do anything I desire to do. I desire to live in a place that has people that I love and a community that I'm building. I desire to continue to be able to elevate myself intellectually so I can study. I want to be able to write and continue to study. I think my dream life ends up being a lot more of how I spend my minutes and not what my minutes look like. I've gotten pretty detached from like the need to be in a location. Like, I don't really want to retire to Bali and live on a beach and think that life is going to be any more stimulating for me, connected to purpose, than like if I don't have that here, it ain't gonna just happen there. And I don't really want to go live on a tiny home on a mountain by myself, because I just like, that doesn't appeal to me either. It's connected to good people. It is financially able to take care of myself. I do desire to be able to physically hike or run or bodybuild or high rocks or do anything physically. I think my dream life probably has to do with more how much of my hours are in flow state. How many of my hours do I get to feel like I'm doing what I want to do in those hours? If that's sitting at the park, I want to be able to sit at the park when I want to sit at the park. I don't say freedom, because I think I do like to have some of the things that I'm responsible to. That's nice, so I don't need freedom. My dream life is a life filled with love, purpose, growth, and then a variety of all the experiences. I think I used to like want to be happy. I don't need to be happy anymore. I'm okay with the shitty days. Yeah. Because I still have good days on when I feel shitty. Yeah. Yesterday I was walking my dog Cora, and I had like a overwhelming feeling of just love and gratitude for my direct circle. And there's probably 15 or 20 people that are really intimately close to me. And I just sent them all a message. It was just like, hey, I'm walking Cora right now, and I got still, and I have so much love and gratitude for you. That's a full life. And the way that they responded back to me was just like, yep, I'm living my dream life. What I would love to like not have to watch my bank account every month. Yeah, that would be dope. Do I wish to have a partner? Yeah, that would be dope. Do I wish to have some kids? Yeah, that would be dope. But then again, that means that I feel like I have something lesser now because I'm chasing for my dream life. So I never want my dream life to be the thing that makes me feel like I'm not living my dream life now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a tricky one to maneuver. Like, how can I want things but also be completely content with what I have now?
If I am I, it's also like a acceptance and a projection. It's the being okay with this, but also having like a North Star. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I would trust your North Star even more if you're good with where you're at right now.
Right. Because then you want to be careful that you're not just looking for something that's going to fix your current problem. Like, oh, as soon as I get this, everything will be fine. It's like, okay, but why aren't things fine right now? What's the problem with there's some guy who had a funny quote that's like, he talked about people who move to South America, or like you were saying, like moving to Bali to retire. And he's like, you're still gonna have the same brain when you go down there. Like, it's still you, just somewhere else. So if you're unhappy here, you're gonna be unhappy there too.
Yes. There's I bring up in that one, astronaut syndrome.
I haven't heard of it.
Once you go to the moon and come back, what the hell else do I do? I've peaked.
Wait, what else do you do? That's good.
So like, for me, 100 miles, I try and beat it? Like, do I try? If I'm needing the goal, and then you get to the goal and you thought that was going to be the like, and then there's this valley. And now that it's done, are you not good now? Like, how long does it last? Like, do you retire to the beach and drink a margarita every day? Like, how long does that last? 10 days? Then you're sunburnt and completely hangover. Like, after the moon, then what? Parents, after your kids go to college and they like move out and you're an empty nest, does your marriage fall apart? Like, again, like, were your kids everything? If we do the cliff, shit, my kids mean everything to me. Not to share business, my ex-wife's brother passed away when she was 18, so then her parents have had to live through a moment of losing a child. Does your life end if you lose a child? Does your child and your parent dies? Does your life end because your parent dies? All of our parents die. Getting to a place now, I'm in 35, like those conversations start happening. I've even had some kids that like my high school buddies have started passing away. Like, what do you need to like finally just be okay with now? Getting still again. If you're always chasing, then you're never still enough. I've worked really hard now after the divorce to be okay with. We had a beautiful home, and like I'm now in a 1-bedroom apartment, solo, in a different job, in a different thing. Like, if I forever go like my life then was the greatest, then I'm just forever looking back in the past. And if I'm forever going like I'm worthless until I get back to the home that I was in or to this, then like I'm never good here. So like shit, like I'm looking back there, or I'm not good enough here. Like, damn it. Then we're the Jews walking through the desert aimlessly. Like, that's in the Bible. That like aimlessly just walking through life. That's not a good place to be.
Yeah, I think that's a part of, being settled with where you are, but also having something. I think for me, that's a key part of it, is that I'm always going to be striving towards something, but hopefully I'm also okay with where I'm at, and I'm happy with that.
Jordan Peterson says there should always be a mountain that we're climbing, and then we get to the peak. What do? We find the next highest mountain and do that again. And then find the next highest mountain and then do that again. It is the up. Hell yeah. But also, like, one of his rules is if you see a cat on the street and it lets you pet it, stop and pet the cat, because like also be right there smelling the flowers.
My dog always smells flowers, and it's a great reminder. I'm like, she stops. She loves smelling flowers. All right, Kenny, this has been great, man.
I appreciate
it. Thank you for coming. I feel like this has been a good chance for me to just drop in and enjoy the moment with you. So
I appreciate you.
Where can people find out more about you?
Let's do the easiest one right now. Instagram's probably the easiest. Kenneth_capacity.
All right.
That's the easiest. My phone number's on there. My email's on there. I don't try and hold people back from reaching out to me. Yeah, that's probably best.
Cool. All right, everyone go follow Kenneth, and call him, text him, whatever you need.
Whatever that looks like. I wanted to ask you, human capacity wise, what does that mean for you when you hear like what are humans capable of, or what are the tools, what makes someone capable of anything, or what's the separator of the greats and the not great?
So there are definitely like anomalies. Like there's like, LeBron James. I couldn't be LeBron James. But then there's also the other, like, I think it comes down a lot to just persistence. Who's the most persistent is going to become the most capable.
I'm right on with persistence. I agree.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest one. Who's going to just stick to what, like that focus? Who's going to pick something and focus and stick to it, be persistent?
Yeah.
Continue coming back. What do you think about capacity? What is like your formula?
The calling. What is the fire? Persistent. What are you willing to do because that fire is so big? And then I think there's also the mirror part. Where are you willing to fail? So if you're willing to be persistent, cool. You'll just like head in. But if you're not also willing to like see where you fail and make changes too, there's also not there. So I also think there's kind of like those three things. The thing that, why do you want to do it? It's so big. The fire's so big. Hell yeah. And then you're willing to do anything. Hell yeah. That also then means learn from your learn. Yeah. Fail, make adjustments.
Yes. Have moments of quietness where you kind of pop out of the grind. readjust.
Yes. Jordan has coaches. Kobe had coaches.
Yeah.
Why? Someone can look at him and go, you could do this better. And they don't have any skin in the game. They're like, done, do it better. Cool. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. They're willing to be vulnerable and fail because like what they really want, the fire to be the greatest, they'll do anything to be the greatest. So that part also.
Yeah. Have you heard the story of Tiger Woods like changing his golf swing? There's like one, I don't know when, but you know, he was already a pro, already like one of the best in the world, probably the best in the world at that point. And his coaches told him like, there's this way that like your swing is off. And he just had to relearn. He had to basically start from scratch, relearn his golf swing, and then comes back better.
Yes.
But that's like a huge readjustment.
Yes.
To have to, okay, I'm going this way now.
Yes. The master will not be the master unless he's willing to be the fool. Like, unless you're willing to look like an asshole.
Yep. You gotta like, you almost have to fail publicly before you can be good at anything.
Yes. That means you put it out that much.
Yeah.
Yes. That's vulnerable. Yeah.
That's great, man.
Because you also see the guys who just like stupidly run in a straight line and they're like, you could take a left and it might. They're like, stupidly straight.
Keep going.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. All right, man.
That's it.
Let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.